Welcome guys to a new deck profile on the channel. Today we'll be going over my first place list that I have been playing at Germany, Osnabrück. I got that first place, of course, got this beautiful Almond right there, as you guys already have seen. I also got the Steamia Ilu, that's for free premium. I'll also make a deck profile on that, but it will be later. Right now my throat is still like a bit sour. I still have lost a little bit of my voice, but I really want to make this deck profile out, so hopefully you guys appreciate it, of course. So for the deck that I've been playing, of course, in this for this tournament, is my MFD deck. The reason why I played it, of course, is I somewhat didn't want to play it. The reason for it was not because I think it's like a bad deck or something like that. I actually think it's a really good deck. I think it's one of the top 3 contenders of this format. The thing is, I was like, after been playing it for so long, I almost want to switch to another deck, but in the end, I came back to it. I tried new things, and it's like also for the fact that MFD is getting banned, at least in JP, and I expect it to also be banned in English. So because I'm not going to attend more tournaments, this may be the last time that I get to play it, because the next one that I will be attending is BCS Belgium, which is like in 1 month and a half or something like that. So I want to play this deck. I already had a build set up almost, did some last refinements, and this I said like this list I'm up with. I will be going through all the options. I will be going all why I chose certain cards. So that will be no problem. Also have my beautiful G right here. This almost doesn't matter, but yeah, I will just still go over it because there are some matchups where you can go over it, but it's like super niche. So yeah, let's go into the deck profile. So for the start, of course, I choose Squadron, usually because it's a speed, and nothing like many reasons why to play it. As in, like, you can play any other D star or V star, I mean, but I just chose this. It's just like Squadron. It's just and play 4 copies of Mystery Flare. Mystery Flare is like the wing con of the deck. For people that don't know him, I've explained it so many times already. Essentially what he does, he gives power to the field, a crit, and a drive check when you have certain grades in the binder. So you count the amount of grades in the binder, not the amount of cards. Keep that in mind. His final skill is that you get an additional turn at the end of the turn. So you get 2 turns. When your opponent is on grade 2 and you start your grade 4, you start on grade 4. The next turn you start back on grade 3 because of course just come. That means you have an additional turn because the stride runnings are like you get an additional turn and you can stride during that turn, because stride running says at the beginning of your turn when you grade 3 or higher. That's it, you're essentially that because you're on Chronogen. So you can start with your opponent's grade 2, which is really strong and you try to OTK them. There's also an interaction with triple turn. I have gone over this plenty of times on the channel. If you want some more explanations, you can do it, or like you can watch my older videos. But essentially what you want to do is put Mystery Flare into the soul by the effect of another grade 3 that you play, and by that you gain a triple turn combo. So going over the next card in the lineup, I'm playing 4 copies of Chronojet. I have played this at 3 copies in my previous list. I still think that for that list it's correct, but for this list I have been going back to 4 copies. The reason for it is because my grade 1 lineup is far more fragile now. I'm only playing 8 copies. I expected GSS sometimes for grade 1, and I therefore want GSS for grade 3. Also for the fact that playing high grades in this like lineup is far more preferred, so that's also the reason why I want to play it. And this list, like, don't use that many counterblast either, and that means we have more counterblast to work with. So Chronojet can start abusing CP more, which means you have to have far higher kill turn. The 5k can like not sound like that much, but it's also the center music. There's a lot of things like that comes with it, because on itself it's already an 18k then. If you boost just by 4k for example, and you make 22k numbers, you can make lots of magic numbers because of his 5k out of a sudden. And if you just attack with it, bind with Lishma, recall it, and attack again, and you can use the CB once again, you can beat quite some things out of your opponent. So that is really it for why we play this card as 4. Also it's your main, like your right target. The only thing is, in my previous list what I always said is like you only want the C1 and you maximum, like the copies you want to see, a minimum you want to see one, and a maximum you want to see one. So that's why I want 3 copies, so you can just search that whenever you need it and not see 2 more, because it's essentially a brick in this thing. Like, it doesn't really do any much more when you have multiples. But for this list, you have some incentives to play it with more copies. That's why you play it. Then the card we have all been talking about is the innovate. This is like your main combo piece. This sets up your binds on the easiest. Just X kill, soul blast, bind to rear guards, and then start doing stuff like check the top 3, bind 1, call 2. You can already do this on grade 2, by the way, if you get it out at least, and then just have it sit there in the background, bind 2 other rear guards, and then you can really start aggroing your opponent. It costs some resources, that's why we play certain other cards in this deck. That's no problem, but this is the main card you want to focus on. As you may see, we already play quite a lot of high grades, so because we're playing the 4 grade 4s, the 4 grade 3s, this 4 grade 3s, that makes like a 12 sort of lineup. We're also playing an additional grade 3, so makes 13. It's like a big lineup to work with no shield fire after that. So this deck all revolves around how far can I push my opponent and how is your mulligan going to be. Like, you can mulligan all your grade 3s and like keep all your grade 3s in your hand, but sometimes you just get obliterated when you're going second, and you don't want to do that. So keep in mind how you want to mulligan, how you want to play into your opponent. How far can you push yourself, in the sense of like how much defensive cards can I have in my hand, while still having my combo turn set up. And it really takes a long time to practice. And most people think, oh, you can play this deck and just go blue, like just pick it up and go blue. And that's sort of correct. If you're going first and you have all your pieces, then your opponent is there. But going second and stuff like that, it brings far more like than meets the eye, in my opinion. But still, it's really good, good card all around, and it's really a solid deck in my opinion. Now for the last grade 1 to 3, Time Cherry Diamond. This is the card I have been seeing like since DBT 02, I think, or DBT 03. Like since it came out, I was already wondering to do this combo. Like at BCS London, I brought this out. Back then I played as 2, then I came back to like 1 copy. The reason for it is actually because you have Sleesh Mode. Sleesh Mode increases your kill turn by so much that you usually don't even need the triple turn combo. You usually only kill on double turn. So what I mean by the triple turn combo, just for like a fast explanation, you will have a Recording Gel. You will be running to Mystery Flare, of course, and at the end of the turn you ride back to Recording Gel. That's just how it is in your additional turn. If you have an MFD into the soul because of Time Cherry Diamond, and your soul blasts out your Recording Gel by any means, either by your innovate or other cards, what you then can do at the end of the turn, this retires, goes to the drop zone, of course. Then you can write anything about it. So because of an old ruling, then you can rewrite this. That means you focus on play skill and you can additional turn, because his entire skill will be live and you will be discarding the entire hand during your end phase. That means you have 3 turns to kill your opponent. It's like really disgusting to play with actually. But it's like, that's how I won my matches. But the funny thing is, the triple turn combo I only did in the tournament like twice out of like 9 rounds, because like you had 6 Swiss rounds and then you had like 2 rounds in top cut. That means, like, as I've said to people, the triple turn only goes off in around 20 to 30% of all matches, and it's like what it shows in the tournament. Otherwise you're just killing your opponent on double turn, and that's also what I did. Like, this deck doesn't revolve around triple turn, it's revolves around double turn by killing your opponent. The triple turn is just there to ensure that you can kill through decent stuff. So that's really it. There are some matchups that can be really hard, but you can counterplay generally against them. So that's really it. Then for the other lineup, we go to the grade 2s. I'm playing 4 copies of the Tapir. I already saw like many people try to keep this secret, and I noticed that because at the beginning when I talked with Grey Exhaust, I already talked with some people that make those lists, and I was already aware of this card. And the thing is, I didn't really want to play it in that format, but for this format I think it's really solid. First of all, you don't have to use any hand to use this effect, because what I mean by that is like Grey Exhaust needs to be cut from hand. This can be cut if we innovate and still use its skill. So you can do all the binds if you want. You can send back to intercept this from the front row. It's a small part. It's not the reason why you play it, but it's like just a little bonus. It's just for the fact that you can rest it and then find the card from the drop zone. I liked Grey Exhaust more because it can tutor my grade 3s out more. But at this level, I expected people to play some counter cards. Yeah, for example, like Joker card that says every time your opponent wants to search his deck, they need to Soul Blast. And this is a card, like, first of all, a counter, and this is just search your deck, but also gives you bind some. And you can try to send stuff from your opponent back to the deck with other cards. But there are some more counter cards that can counter MFD in this combo, and this works around everyone almost, because it's an X skill, the search your deck and stuff like that. And I also like the 8k base around it, because what you can do, for example, if you're playing against ripples or something like that, sometimes you don't usually want to set them on 4, and that's fine, right? Because if you're on 4, they can just space so much in that you just like sometimes just die out of it. But if you're going second, you bash their face in grade 2, then up to damage. That's like sort of like a safe haven for me. Like sometimes 2 isn't a safe haven. It generally depends on what the game state is, but generally 2 is fine. But if, for example, you clear it on grade 1, then you're like a little bit screwed, because then you cannot really put your Vanguard attack in for like just a card on hand. In that scenario, running the 8k is perfect, because you can then just underswing into the Ripple match and still keep them too. Because nobody is playing 8k base in this format. Like, this is one of the only cards that can do. Also, when you're going first, nobody can damage you because you're on 8k base. Nobody plays 7k grade 2s or something like that. If you're doing that, then it's like, sure, I guess, like, then you can underswing me, but then you can still bash the face like the next turn, because you're just not MFD. And it's really hard for people to not attack into you, because like I get all my advantage, I get everything. MFD, try to kill you. You need the hand size to survive that. You cannot say, oh, I need the damage than I am. So that's why I play this card as 4 copies. It's the ideal right target in some scenarios, and it's also a real combo extender, and it's really nice to have. Other things that can come up is like the intercept of eradicators. That can, when it intercepts, you can snipe something from your opponent. Like, you just counter this card every time, and I think there's not too much being talked about this card anymore. I think so, yeah. Like, there's so much stuff going around in my head, but I try to keep it short, because otherwise it will be like a 1 hour video or something like that, and I already have multiple videos on this Then I have 3 copies of Smoker. So Smoker is a really like, this is one of your combo cards. It doesn't help you accumulate bind zone. It doesn't need to be, because the reason why you play this at copies is when you go and revert back to the Contingent for your double turn combo. That means you will be stunning your turn on Contingent. Smoker makes it so any discard you do is counted as grade 3. So it doesn't matter what you top deck, you can stride with Smoker, which is really, really strong. Like, you can just search stuff. Also, for the fact it also helps for the triple turn combo, because what you want to do, if you're going for the triple turn, you need to Soul Blast your Contingent out. We Innovate is like a way to do it, but it's usually not the best. But Smoker is just an easy way to do it. Like, just attack, Soul Blast 1, and draw a card at case 5k, and then you Soul Blast out your Contingent, and you have triple turns set up. So for the double turn this helps, for the triple turn this helps, and also for the fact that when you ride him, you're swinging him for 15, so opponent cannot really like use a trigger to say no pass. If you're going first, like, you just want to bash your opponent already, you already want to bash your opponent's skull in before they even attempt to play the game, because the MFD just want to kill. And if you just ride this, then it's just like, just try to kill them immediately. So that's my reasoning for playing a tree. Some people played them before. I don't really like it, because I had to make space for other cards. I will show you guys in a moment. But yeah, this card is really, really strong in my opinion, and it just helps. But the thing is, with this card, you only need to see him once when playing the combo. It will be going quite fast through. Like if you play him at 4, then it's just uncertainty. When you ride 1, you damage check 1, that you still have like you can sort of like 2 to the 1 left in deck. If you're playing 1, you can also still do it, but it's like a little bit harder. Like, there are multiple reasons for it. I really like this, and that's really good. Then we're playing 3 copies of Coolza. I really like this. I wish I can play this and more, but I can't because the space of this deck is really tight, and I'm like, for now, like I can't seem to find any space. I think this is the ideal list for this format. So what does Coolza do? Dispensing in the back can be yours or your opponent, and then switch your deck for a grade higher. So let's for example your opponent is going first, and they have a grade 2 in the field. You can just spin it back with Coolza, get the innovate out, and already use re-innovate on grade 2. And that's really strong because if you can accumulate the soul to keep it doing, then you're almost guaranteed to have your 19 grades at like grade 3. Also you can spin itself back, of course, during the turn, so you're not reliant on your opponent having cards. But it's nicer to have your opponent because then you have a free body on the field, of course, and you use an aggressive piece from the back. Also for the fact this also works when called off the innovate, so it's a combo extend in a way where if you get off the innovate, spin itself back or spin an opponent's grade 2 back, again another innovate. It costs soul, that's the thing with this card, but it's fine. Also the fact is like this right, and of course smoke here are also 10k bases, which really helps against the current format, because eradicate is a thing, and you have ripple screen being a thing, and they're all having 9k bases, and 10k bases really helps against that, to like survive easier. So it's like a caveat on whether you want to go for the 9k base or like the 8k base or the 10k base. Keep in mind you need to think about that on your own, on what you want to do, of course. Then I play 4 copies of Lost Scale Locate. Essentially Great Research works on Vanguard Circle. It's a really good card, really stable card. It's just like what you usually want to do is just do all your draft stuff, see what grades you're missing, and search the remaining cards with Lost Scale Locate. That's really it. Also it's a really nice piece. The thing is with this deck lacks good quick ones, in the meaning of like you have this, and I prefer to play the 4 Steam Burst. I saw Liz playing this Cognitive Tiger. In my opinion, I don't like it. I think it's wrong, but that's up to me, of course. Like they also had the success of Cognitive, and it's fine. I playtested with it, and I see it working. But for the current format, I think Steam Breath is better. But we'll be going over why I think it. First of all, this is the lineup. They all search your grade 3s, so it's really important to mulligan into this. The reason why you want to do that, first of all, why it's like even consistent, is if you want to mulligan for your grade 1, it usually searches out your grade 3, so your correct grade 3, right? So by mulliganing all your grade 3s away, you will be finding your grade 3s anyway if you at least hit the grade 1. That's the important thing, to keep it in mind. You really need to know what you can mulligan and what you want to do. If you are having your entire combo hand and you don't have a grade 1, then it just falls apart. So keep in mind what you can put back and what you want to do. If we're just talking strictly about Steam Breath, of course, Steam Breath in my opinion is a really solid card in this format. The reason for it is especially Narukami, like that's the main reason for this card. First of all, they can retire your stuff if they're going first. They can retire your stuff during your turn when you're doing MFD stuff. So for example, if you're just on MFD and you're just attacking with your front row, of course, then they just pull rock away and your front row is away. The next turn you have, like if this was a to forest or square, okay, and you will promote this to the front row, it will just be hitting for 8, and then it's really awkward because the other column you can also not attack, because the reason for it is if they have a second bulwark, then your front row is like poof away, and that means like you cannot use Slishman because Slishman needs to buy the front row unit. That's why I play Steam Breath, because you can promote to the front row, attack with it, and the other unit you just don't swing usually with it to keep that unit alive for Slishman to bind up. So you really need to know that, you really need to know your circumstances, and that's why I usually play it. Also, this increases your kill ceiling, and that's something you really need. Like this deck is focused around double turn kill, not triple turn kill. Yes, triple turn can happen, but it's like this is the main focus of the deck. And to increase that, you really want to go aggro in the early game as much as possible. So putting this onto the back row and just smashing your opponent unit in is like really solid. So because then if let's say for example you have a smoke here with this, that's already 28k column. If your opponent is on the grade 2, then you they will just say no guard, like what the fuck, what to do. And that's why this card comes in. It's less about consistency, because I think Cognitive can unbreak you more. But here's the thing, sometimes you don't even have the CB, because as I've said, you have Coolza and you have Coinage that you want to use CB out. But paying the CB for Coinage, that means you have a less skill turn because you can pay the CB for Coinage. Also, sometimes it's really awkward to get Coinage off, and this will always go off. Yes, sometimes it just goes too much hand, but that's okay in my opinion if you're playing careful with it. I think on both sides of Coinage and this one, there are some, like there are multiple sides on it. I just prefer this in my opinion. That's why I played that for. Then I play the two promos. I had these, like, it wasn't really hard for me to get. It was just like that I need to get them on time because my shop just got them in time, like I think 3 days before the tournament. And I practiced with this deck, as in I already got my build pre-promo because I was in assumption I didn't get it. But after I got the promo, I immediately built the deck. I already had like a sort of like a template, because what I essentially did is I played the 4th smoke here and the 4th Coolza, and I essentially cut them out just for the doggo, because the doggo is really insane. First of all, it allows you to play a little bit more of an early game or like an aggressive early game if you go first. But in my previous list, I also played Lishma and Lishma with Nabu, and that essentially gives you 4 grace. But the problem with the combo is let's say you're playing against Ripples, for example, you attack with your Vanguard, boosted by Lishma, of course. If let's forget, but this is Lishma and this is your Vanguard. You boost with it, then Lishma goes away, goes to an Nabu, and if your opponent didn't get a damage check, you need to attack with it. Attack for the next turn with your Vanguard, and they do 3 damage, and they can just high roll you with damage enablers. That's not feeling you want to have. If you're playing this combo, you can just put it behind your Vanguard and still, like, your opponent will take a damage, but at least it's not 2 damage with Nabu or stuff like that. So I really like this combo more. Yes, it cocks a little bit on your grade 1 consistency, but after that it will increase consistency, because Lishma already was a -1 from like hand, because you needed to put a card on the field, this kind of card, and you got only draw 1 card back. In the meantime, you only lost 5k shield, well, it wasn't really that big of a deal, and you sent up your bison really fast, but that's it for that. That's why I played 2 copies. And then we're going over the finger line. I play 4 copies of the bison. The reason for it is it allows you to play super magic numbers on like early game already, because what I usually did is like put the bison onto the front, put the puppy in the back, if I just want to waste my point early game. Because the stuff with Coolza and stuff like that, if you don't have the resources for it yet, then you can just play this down, because it's like just an easy beater, of course, and then you can just put this away next time to make space on the field. Also for the fact that this deck uses quite a lot of soul. What I did, like what I explained earlier with Coolza stuff, that you put your opponent's grade 2 back and call innovate, that already costs 2 soul, because you pay the 1 Coolza and 1 for innovate. That means for the next turn you only have 1 soul left, so you can only use 2 innovates if you have been on soul charging. If you see this means you have 1 extra soul to use an extra innovate, and 3 innovates means you can do your combo, and it's usually what you have, because the 1 innovate you have on the field, you will be using that twice, right? 2 times, and that means you have 1 extra, like you just need to see 1 out of anything, and then you have your 3 re-innovate box. So it's really handy to play multiple like soul grids. Really happy still with this integration. At first, like back in our old build, Jacobus actually came up with this. We were talking a lot about it, and then we tried to implement it, and it was really solid in my opinion. Then we're playing the 3 strike grids. 50k shield is still king. Also the fact, like sometimes you just, if for the job turn, you don't have smoke here to rely stride on. So just having this to white, or like striding it out of the top deck would be really nice. Then we play 4 draws, because draws can be really helpful. Can draw or like unbreak you as a punch. Also for the fact it's like, yeah, like it's still a PG. You really still need it for this format, because sometimes you just get obliterated out of your mind. So for example, an Awakari player plays armor break. You gave them the 3 damage but not the 4th. They just got armor break, and if you don't have PG, GG. Like that's it. Like sometimes you just still need the PG in your deck. And people were playing armor break, by the way. I was already like aware of that card, because like I was traveling with an Awakari player, and like he also played it. So I also played them in Swiss, so it's really handy for me to know. 4 heal cards, high grades, they're grade 3 in the deck, grade 3 on field, and stuff like that. So this, if you're binding this, then it's really like good and stuff like that. Also for the fact because it's a creature you can use low skill players. There's so much innovations, and we're playing one over trigger because why the fuck not? And also the Dark Size one is really strong if you check it early because it works on all turns of your mystery flare, of course. Then we will be going over the stride zone. I played 3 copies of Lishma. This is the stride you will be going into the most. It's the strongest stride. Because the thing is, because you will be putting all your resources into your the double turn stuff. Like you usually don't have CB or like much CB or Soul Blast left to the other stuff. But Lishma is just like the 3 attack, like the 5 attack is really nice. Because she just does on her own. The Soul Blast to extend the 6 attack is helpful, and you usually can make it so because you're playing the 4 copies of the Bison. Then for the others, Jason, History Maker, History Build, never used this. It's not really needed. It's almost same conditions. There's not really much scenarios. Ragnar Clock can sometimes go up when you're like in a pitch where you don't usually have many rear guards and stuff like that to work with. So that's be it. Then we have this one. This is the one you can stride into just normally before you do the even double turn. But it comes up rare because this just means you have all the grades in your hand, like all the high grades like Jet and stuff like that. But you don't have a way to bind it. But if you do this, then you're like the double turn, you're left with almost no field because you only have 1 rear guard. So you have triple Vanguard swing, but is it worth it in my opinion? Not usually. Then I played 1 Hanglang. There's like this as a specific reason for it. The reason for it is like if you're playing against Nakami and they wipe your entire field and you're doing the additional turn. In that additional turn, yes, you can go Slishma, but if you don't have any rear guards to work with, you can't Slishma anything. That's where Hanglang comes in because Hanglang doesn't force you to have field to work with. So that's why I play with 1 copy just for that single scenario. And sometimes game up, sometimes run mid game up, and that's really it. 1 Ulubu, here so you come with G guards, Pandora Chimera against DI primarily. Headshot, never used it. Bearlock, I never used. Like, I never touch my G guards. Like, this is like, it's cool that we play so many. I never use them in there during the tournament. History visions I can sometimes come up against the Dimension Police, for example, where they want to like try to OTK you, because like then you have the stand trigger stuff like that. History vision just prevents it from happening. So that's it for my list. I hope I could have like put everything into. There's a lot of thoughts into this list with like getting it into the video, getting it all correct here. It's really hard for me at least to do. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. And comment down below if you have any questions. This is for my opinion, like in my thought, it's the last time I will be playing this deck. So I was happy to have this journey from BSF London till now, because it's been really like it's been more enjoyable than I have ever known. So I want to thank everyone that helped me like make this list and also helped me encourage to play this list out, especially because there were some downtimes where I didn't want to play this deck, but it has been really enjoyable. Thank you guys.